This is a demonstration on how to use the Artificial Intelligence Auto Marking application. The application takes in CSV formatted data. Now it's been set up specifically to take in data collected in Microsoft Forms, but what we could do is we could configure the CSV file in the way that we want to, but to make it easy, we've done it so that it matches the Microsoft Forms format for the way the data, when the data have been collected, have been laid out. So what we do is we set our test up in Forms. We have our questions. We can have all sorts of different types of questions, multiple choice questions. We can have keyword response questions. We can have text response questions with short answer response. A whole range of questions. We give that to our students to answer, and then when students have completed the test, we can then download the spreadsheet, click open in Excel here, and it will download that. This is the spreadsheet that we've downloaded from Microsoft Forms. We have a response from a single student. Obviously, we'd have responses from a class full of students if we're doing this for real. There is a bit of formatting we need to do for this before the application can take the data in. So the first step is to save it as a CSV file. So we need to ensure, so we select on here, make sure we select CSV file here, and then save it as a CSV file. And then, yes, we do. When we've saved it as a CSV file, a lot of the formatting, well, all the formatting just disappears. There is some still further modifications we need to make to the file. First one being we have to get rid of this row here. So we click there and we just simply delete that row. And the other thing is we need to remove all the information pertaining to student information. So for example, their name and their email address. All that needs to be removed so that we're just left with the student responses. Now, when we run it through the program, everything is going to be maintained in the same order. So it's easy then to copy and paste the data back into another spreadsheet. So that's a little bit of a fiddly bit, but this is kind of necessary so that we don't have we're not submitting the personal data of students. So we remove all that information as well. So that'll be the first 5 columns there. So we right click and then we just simply delete those rows as well. Now our spreadsheet, our CSV file is in the correct format. We simply save that, make sure that's saved, and that is now the input data in the correct form that we can now process. We need also to have a second CSV file which contains the mark scheme of that assessment. Now let's have a look at how this is laid out. So we have our first column here, column A, that corresponds to the question number. So it's 14, 15, 20. So there'll be questions 14, 15, 20, for example. Now you might be wondering where are the other question numbers? Well, the other questions were either multiple choice questions or just simply keyword responses. So it's not necessary for us to have responses for that one because it's already been marked by Microsoft Forms. So these are the short answer responses, the responses that require a sentence to maybe up to a paragraph in length for the responses. So that's column A. Column A is the question number. Then we've got column B, that's the question itself. Straightforward. Then we've got column C. Now this is a response to the question, and then column D is the marks you'd give to that response. So in all cases here, it's just simply 1 mark. Then we have additional responses. So these are simply alternate responses. So for example, for question 14, we have 2 alternate responses for that one. For question 15, we have 2 alternate responses. For question 20, we only have 1 response. For question 4, we have again 2 responses, and then for some of these as well, we have 3 responses, and then for question 38, we actually have 4 responses. So we have that responses there to the question. What happens is that the response of the student gets compared with each of these, and then the semantic similarity to each of those responses is given. And yeah, this is the file that needs obviously a bit of work on to making sure it's in the correct format. So just go to that again. So A is the question number, B is the question itself, C is the first response. Column D is the number of marks you give to that response. Question E is the second column E is the second response. F is the number of marks you give to that, and so on and so forth as you progress. You can have as many responses as you want. We've only gone up to 4 in the question 38 in this case, but we can have as few as 1 and as many as we want. So back to our application now. We are ready to put the CSV files into the application and see what we produce. So we choose our Microsoft Form CSV file that we've modified. So this was the CS7 one here, and we just click open there. Then we choose the mark scheme. So this is this one here, and then we click auto mark and wait for a short while, and then we're able to download this file. We simply click on it there, and that will download the file for us. The marked file is also in a CSV format, and we've just opened it here. And as you scroll along the top here, what you find is for those questions that is marked, it gives a value between 0 and 1. So 0 meaning that there was a low semantic similarity, so basically the response was nothing like the mark scheme response, so essentially it's wrong, and a high value, so towards 1, means that it's really similar to one of the responses that we had in our mark scheme, so therefore it's a high response. So it gives a value between 0 and 1, high being a good response, low being a less good response, and it will do that for all the questions that we plugged into the mark scheme there. So you go across there and you can see it's given a number there, so you've given a low score to that response there, and then a high to this response here, for example. So we've seen there that it's given us a value that then we can use and help us in our marking and assessment, and should hopefully save time.